What is going on, YouTube? Fascinating graveyard on this very beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky. Perfect weather, perfect temperature. We're here in Birmingham, Alabama. We are at the Elmwood Cemetery, and I am here to visit the late and great Eddie Kendricks with an S at the end. Of course, we all know and love Eddie Kendricks because he is one of the original members of the Temptations. Eddie was born December 17th, 1939 in Union Springs, Alabama. Later on, him and his family moved up to the Birmingham area. And in his neighborhood, he met up with a kid by the name of Paul Williams, and they both liked singing. Eddie would sing at church, and they would sing together, and they were looking for other members to kind of join a quartet, if you will. So later on, they met Jerome Averett and Kel Osborne. So they meet these guys, so they're four guys, so they start a group. And they're like, hey, what should we call ourselves? So they came up with the name the Cavaliers. So they would sing around town, sing at talent shows, sing wherever they can get any kind of stage time. And then later on, they said, let's take our show on the road. Let's move up to Cleveland. Cleveland had a lot of music coming out of that city. So they all packed up their bags and they headed over to Cleveland, Ohio. And they were there for a little while. There they linked up with a guy by the name of Milton Jenkins. He was their manager, and Milton says, hey, I know my name's Milton and all, but once you guys stop laughing, take me serious for a minute, I think we should head to Detroit. And they said, okay, a lot of music coming out of Detroit, a lot of people becoming very famous, very successful in Detroit. They moved to Detroit, and they called themselves the Cavaliers, but for some reason, somebody said, I don't like that name. I'm not into the Cavaliers. So he's like, okay, well, what should we call ourselves? I know. How about the Primes? Now, me personally, I think the Cavaliers was a better name, but hey, what do I know? What do I know? So they changed their name from the Cavaliers against my, wishes, and they call themselves the Primes. And they actually became pretty popular in the area. And became so popular that they actually had a female spin-off group called the Primettes. Now, everything is going fine. Maybe they're not, making big hits, but, they're together, they're doing their thing. And then Kel Osborne, he's like, he goes, I'm actually better than you guys, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take off. I'm going to the West Coast, and I'm going to be a big star, and you guys could stay in this bodunk Detroit and be broke. So he leaves. He goes off to start his own career, or what have you. By the way, if you're ever wondering whatever happened to Kel Osborne, well, he has some kind of mediocre hits. Later on, he ended up getting drafted by the United States military, and he came back, and that was pretty much it. He never really had any hits, and in 1995, he finally just gave up the music business and went to go drive buses because he wasn't making any money. And I bet he always regrets the fact that after he left, they linked up with a couple other members from another band where members had left, and together they formed the Temptations. So how did the Temptations come to be? Well, after Kel left the group, there was another man. He had a group. His name was Otis Williams, and he had a group called Otis Williams and the Distance. Well, two of their singers left the group because for some reason, maybe they just wanted to go somewhere else. So Otis and Eddie, they all met up and they said, okay, we'll join your group. Let's just form a group together. And Otis said, yeah, cool. We'll call it Otis Williams and the Distance. And Eddie was like, no, we're not. No, we're not going to go that route, my friend. No, we got a better name in mind. And, you know, they've kind of thought about names here and there. And someone said, hey, well, what about the Temptations? And they said, okay, that sounds good. And that's how the Temptations began. In 1961's, here we are, the Temptations. And at first they were singing backup for Mary Wells. And then later they wrote some songs, recorded some very good music. Their very first song to chart was The Way You Do the Things You Do. Now, that wasn't their first hit, but that was their first song that they made that was a hit that actually you could see that it was on the Billboard charts. So after that, of course, you know Eddie Kendricks, very, you know, falsetto, high-pitched singing voice. You probably heard him sing on 3, 5, 4 from Look Out Baby, 'cause here I come. Yeah, one of my favorite songs of all. I don't know why, but I always sang that song as a kid. It's probably because I have an angelic voice, as you can hear on the video, right? Very good. Also, he sang Just My Imagination, another fantastic song. Just my imagination once again, running away from me. Yeah, just really beautiful. I'm sorry, guys. I know. I when I made this video, I said I'm not going to sing any of their songs. I just can't help it. I just can't help it. But they had some pretty good music together. I'm probably missing a couple other songs that Eddie sang the lead on. Well, those are the two that I know off the top of my head. So anyways, I guess Eddie just wasn't really getting along with the other band members, and they started going down like another sound, another route, like with different sounding music. They started doing more kind of like psychedelic funk music. For instance, like Cloud 9, that song, you can kind of see they were getting away from like their, you know, the earlier songs that made them famous. And Eddie wanted to sing more, you know, like love ballads, and, you know, they wanted to be like, just kind of like, hey, ho, you know, like all that. So in 1971, Eddie Kendricks, he left the group. He left the group just after recording Just My Imagination, and it hit #1. By the time it hit #1 on the Billboard R&B charts, he had already signed his deal. I forgot what record company he signed with. But anyways, Eddie never really, I mean, he had that Keep On Truckin', that song, but he didn't get any like really big hits the way the Temptations were doing it. Now, really quickly, I just want to say, I'm not saying that Eddie Kendricks, once he left the Temptations, wasn't a successful singer. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that it's very hard when you're a part of a musical group or ensemble and you go out on your own, and it's just saying it's very difficult, as good of a singer as Eddie was, it's very difficult to recreate that same success that you had with a group, especially when they didn't have social media back then to kind of hype you up and make you out to be a big star. It was very difficult back in those days to become something bigger than what you were with your old singing group. Here we are, the late great Eddie Kendrick, but he had changed his name to Kendricks with an S, but this is his birth name, Eddie Kendrick. This is his marker right here. I'm gonna dust this off a little bit. Can't be having any dirt on your grave, bro. I got some stuff in my van. I'm gonna come back and clean it up, make it look nice. Rest in peace, my friend. Sadly, October 5th, 1992, Eddie died of lung cancer. One of the lates and greats. This is Eddie James Kendrick. What an S. All right, rest in peace, bro. All right, guys. Fascinating graveyard. I got some cleaning to do. Gotta shine that up nice and tight. All right, y'all. Have a blessed day. Catch up with y'all later. Peace out.